Back to another video, guys. Before we get into today's video though, I just want to give out a warning that this is not financial advice but purely my own personal analysis. I will never tell y'all exactly what my plays are or what you should follow. I'm just here to give you guys insight on specific stocks and what to be looking for and keep an open mind about for your own personal sake. So with that being said, we can now get into the video. Today we are having our Xom Levels discussion before the new trading week starts. So to start it off, we're going to be talking about resistance levels first and then support. Third, we're going to be talking about how we're finding these support and resistance and why they're support and resistance. And then at the very end, I will also be talking a little bit about Microsoft. So with that being said, let's get straight into the first levels on Xom here. So our very top resistance is our all-time high, which we all know from trading Xom is 123.76. So what all-time high is when stock gets to a price that it's never been at in its life, and that price is all-time high. The pricing that it's never hit before in its life finally hits, and now that is the newest highest price it's ever been at. So we want for bulls to go past that to create even new all-time highs, which would be amazing. And as you all know, we've been in the cup and handle, so that's what we're kind of looking for right now. But these resistance levels have been holding up pretty good to the point to where it's not allowing us to push up any higher like we kind of expected it to earlier, or actually later in last month. But you know, it's fine. We still got time before September, so it's still possible. But so like I said, all-time high is at 123.76. Then you got this second red line here. And how this is resistance to me is because after the all-time highs, we came down and then we came back up to try to push back up, but then the fair value gap for resistance, if you know anything about fair value gap, held, and that top point of that wick would be a valid line of resistance. It was also tested once and twice with these two wicks, and every time it was hit, it would come down. You can even see here, every time the wick hit it, come down. Wick hit it, came down. Wick hit it, made the body short. You get it. So that's also another valid line of resistance. The third and the most difficult resistance that we have not been able to get past just yet is 119.92. This has been a pain. We've hit it not once, not twice, but 3 times basically. The third time we fell a little short, but you know, we'll kind of get on it to the point to where we've hit it and it just got rejected. So we're hoping that we can break this by this week for bulls, especially after for our first line of support, which is our 113.08 right here. After we had this 1 bounce, 2 bounce, we're hoping that this pushes it through after the 1, 2, 3 attempts of going. So hopefully that does work out for us this week. As you can see here, pre-market we're actually trading at 119.70, so it is very, very possible to push past this resistance level and be on our way to all-time highs. So for the second support, that is going to be 110.50. As you know, trading Xom, we like to look at halves and wholes. Well, 110.50 just so happens to be a half support key level. So, and why is it a support key level? Is because after the initial drawdown from the cup and handle, we had to push upwards to then the pull back at this point of 110.50, and then we launched up to 1992, right? And then our first support came back down after we hit that first resistance level, that held, and it held twice. So that's also how you know that's a good support. That first support, 113.08, is a good support because it held twice. As of 110.50, we just know have numbers are good areas for looking at resistance and support, and this one held as support, so we now know. And then if you look to the left, you can also see all these these green bullish candles, and if you play fair value gap, you would know that there would be a fair value gap in this area as well for support. So you got the first support, 113.08, second at 110.50, and then our third support that we're going to be looking at is 108.17. That is the very bottom of the handle from the cup and handle that we then bounced off of and then started making the second and the first support, climbing our way up, supporting the bullish trend. And then that is just as simple as it kind of gets with finding these support and resistance. It's not complicated at all. A lot of people like to make it complicated, so I hope that this kind of gave an explanation of showing how simple it really is, just finding a support and resistance, and it being on the daily time frame as well. It really helps out with kind of canceling the noise of how many candlesticks pop up, and it just makes your charts look cleaner because there's less volume, so it makes things easier to find, like chart patterns, resistance, support, fair value gap areas, yada yada yada, whatever you want to do. Right, so now you got our 3 resistance zones for XOM going into Monday 8/12 trading session. Now you got our 3 support zones. If their resistance zones hold up and push us back, you now know where that is. And now I just want to show y'all a little indicator. Right now I have all my indicators turned off. This is a little pre-market prediction of what I see this week, especially after how last Friday and Thursday went with these 2 big green candles here, and on our way to touch 119.92. And as you can see in the pre-market, which is this orange number here where it says pre right above XOM, you can see that we're at 119.85. So we are very, very close to hitting that number and possibly going past. But I just want to show you these 2 indicators real quick. Okay, so this yellow line here, if you haven't heard of it, it's the 200 EMA. That's the 200-day moving average of this stock price. What this does is indicates and supports trend change. Okay, now I'm going to show you some examples, right? Back in October of 2023, we came down from we were coming on a downtrend, right? And we were above the 200 EMA. We then crossed and held below, and then it supported even further pushing down. Right, then in February of 2024, we came in on a bull run, okay, and crossed and held above and supported it. Then we came down from our all-time highs. We broke a little bit. Yeah, we closed and held, but ultimately we had support here from this big bull run up as fair value. And also we were creating the pattern, so we expected it to come down to this area. And then ultimately we crossed back up through the 200 EMA, and even better, we had a pullback to then touch the 200 EMA right here, as you see where my cursor is, and it touched and played it as support, showing that we are still in an uptrend, which is amazing. And as you see here from my trend line, from the bottom of the point to where the handle ended and then up, you can see that we're still got plenty of room to go up until we honestly break past this 113.08. I don't see any sign of bears as of now, with 200 EMA being above, being in an uptrend. Last week, the last two candles were extremely bullish, right? So that's a very big plus sign. Also, I want to go over a little bit of MACD. If you don't know, that this is a great volume and trend indicator to pair with the 200 EMA and numerous of other indicators as well. But specifically for my strategy, I like to pair this with the 200 MACD. And also for like my scalping, I'll throw in the 9 and the 50. But besides the point, MACD is fantastic. Absolutely love it. Right? So this blue line here that you see, let's zoom this in. This blue line here that you see, that is the MACD. Okay? This orange line is the signal. Okay? When this blue line crosses through the signal line, that most likely indicates a trend change. And I'll give you an example. This is a perfect example from our all-time high. You see we crossed up at the bottom from where we were at the bottom of the cup when we crossed through here, the 200 EMA. MACD crossed up through the orange line, and then you see these green volume candles here. Then we kept it pushing, staying above the orange line, so you know we were in an uptrend. And then once we got to our all-time high, right, you see here we curve up, sink down through the orange line, hold above it, and we got red volume candles indicating and showing us that trend is now changing to ride the downtrend, right? Now, for the daily, as of last week on Friday, we closed with MACD, the blue line, crossing through our signal line, okay? And if you see it in pre-market, we're now up. We're now going to have to make a gap fill unless before 8:30, you know, we come back down, whatever. But that is a great indication as well that we are looking for bullish to blow past 119.92 to then go play our halves and holes, you know. As we know, XOM plays halves and holes, so once we get past 119.92, then we want to see 120, 120.50, 121, and then 121.58 is our resistance. Okay, and then, you know, upwards and upwards until we reach our all-time highs, which is the main goal for the long run and for the short term. You know, anything's possible to hit within a matter of a week. Just it all depends on the stock itself. So I have no doubt in my mind that we will be there in no time. So with that all being said, today we've gone over our key levels for resistance. So I hope you took notes on that. We got our 3 support levels. We know we're in an uptrend, right? So we never play against trend in the long run. In the short term, you're able to pivot. You know, as a scalper, you play puts, you play calls. That's different. In the long run, you never want to go against trend because you're only gonna lose, and we don't lose, right? We're winners over here. We make consistently good money. We follow our plan, we follow our strategy. So we know our trend. We now know a couple of signals that were just taught, the 200 EMA, MACD. So make sure you do your own due diligence and do some research. Maybe add it to your strategy if you think it might be useful to you. It's very useful to me. And that is pretty much having you guys set up for this trading week to be prepared for a cool little bull run if we blow past this 119.92. So, that's about time for the video. I hope this was useful. Hope it was very helpful to start your trading week. If it was, let me know down in the comments how it was. And I will see y'all in the Discord. Peace.